Hello, Cynthia.
Hey, Jen.
What are we talking about today?
We're we're talking about finding your online business bestie, which, hey,
Right
I mean,
here.
hey, you. Welcome to Marketing Duo Podcast, the podcast where marketing experts Cynthia of Digital Bloom IQ and Jen of Jen Vasquez Media come together to share their wealth of knowledge and insights on scaling your business.
Each episode, we are diving into the latest marketing strategies, mindset shifts, and growth tactics specifically designed for ambitious female founders who are tech savvy and eager to enhance their marketing game.
Whether you're looking to fine-tune your approach or discover innovative ways to accelerate your business, the Digital Marketing Duo provides actionable tips and inspiring conversations to help you reach your goals.
Tune in for a blend of practical advice and empowering discussions tailored to help you thrive in an ever-evolving digital landscape. So I would love to start this conversation off with why it's helpful to have a business bestie and then how to find
Oh, yeah.
one. I think that will be helpful.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. Yeah, I agree. Why to have an online business bestie? I mean, for me, I just feel like, well, if I was in an office, I would probably have coworkers. And so I would have people to talk to and relate to. And, in my job now, I have my team, which I love talking to. But at the beginning, it was hard. I felt really alone at the beginning. And I think a lot of us have this experience of like maybe we don't have people around us who are doing what we want to do. So you get a lot of the questions. And so it can be hard to keep things going, right? So you want an online business bestie who will not just, hold space for whatever's coming up, but also kind of believe in you and like, help you, right? To like form that belief system of what you're trying to build, whatever it is you're trying to build. And sometimes it could be someone who hasn't
Correct.
built, right? It's just like a
Yeah.
vibe, like you just
I think it's
yeah.
really
So,
important to find someone who understands what you do. You don't have to, for sure.
yeah.
I will give you an example. My
Mhm.
husband is the biggest supporter of me. I can literally do no wrong,
Oh,
which sounds lovely. It
so
is
sweet.
lovely and it is sweet, but it does not help my business. Because I'll tell him like, okay, this just happened and be like, oh, babe, you're awesome. I know you'll handle it. Okay. Or
No.
tell me what happened. Go ahead and vent. Give me, whatever. Again, that's helpful and that's important, first of all, in a relationship, right? You have to be able to have feelings and things like that.
Yeah.
But if you find a biz bestie like Cynthia, she literally gets what I'm talking about. So maybe I have a launch that doesn't go well. I can do a postmortem with her and go through all the things
Mhm.
and she'll be like, "Oh, but did you send that final email or did you send like all the little
Yeah.
things not to make me feel worse, but to help me with my next launch
Right.
or prior to a launch. I could
Mhm.
say, "Hey, we've got this, we've got that. What am I missing? Or what would be
Yeah.
helpful? Or do you see anything new marketing wise that I can do to make this
Mhm.
successful?" Right? So there's the
Yeah.
venting piece of it, but also there's the
Mhm.
accountability piece that's so helpful. And I don't mean accountability like a coach who's like, get your butt in gear and make it this happen. More
Right.
like we come and we're like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so tired right now." Like I'm, whatever, and I'm talking about this and then you're talking about that, and then I leave the conversation uplifted. I leave the conversation feeling like I can tackle whatever I'm going for, and I can also say, "Hey, Cynthia, like, I hate email writing, and I know it's super important for a launch, and don't wanna do it. So can you please check in with me and make sure I've done it so I have somebody that's holding me a little bit of accountable?" I think that's helpful for those things that we
Yeah.
don't like. And when it's your team,
Yeah.
yes, they understand the business, but also we're the leader of the
Mhm.
company. And so sometimes it's not as easy to go talk with the people that are working for you, because they need to know that you're in a
Yeah.
leadership position and you can handle business, like venting about, stressing about something else
Right.
is probably not appropriate, maybe to talk with your team about.
Right.
So
Right.
for me, it's really
Exactly.
fun and I can bounce ideas off. And sometimes I'll have an idea or you'll have an idea and I'll be like just now during the filming of the podcast, I'm like, I'm writing that down. I'm gonna do that. I'm borrowing that idea, right? It gives you, like you were saying,
Totally.
like we don't have a water cooler that the corporate folks can like stand around and have conversation in. So it's very
Right.
nice to have that. And I appreciate you.
Yeah. I think it stems like, all this stems from this idealization of, like, "Oh, you can do it alone." Like, I think there's still very much this badge of honor of, like, "Oh, I did that by myself." And that is the worst possible strategy for doing anything, let's be honest, but especially for starting a business and for keeping it going. You eventually get to a point where you get to hire people. Like, today, I was talking with my team and like my team gives me the best ideas that I would never think of. And they're all like I hire people that know more than me, right? But it's I still get like a crazy moment of like I would have never thought of that. Like glad I hired people. But then in the biz bestie role, it's the same thing. It's like resourceful. Your brain works differently. You would always probably give me ideas that I wouldn't approach and some things maybe I won't do because it doesn't jive, but at least having
Yeah, and I
options,
feel
right?
like too, there's that old adage where when you're a business owner, it's like you're inside a glass jar and you can't read the label on
Mm.
the outside. Like you're so
Right. That's
focused
so good.
on like this one thing, you
Right.
can't see that whole
Yeah.
business around you. And a
Yeah.
biz bestie
Yes.
really will say something and you're like, duh. Like, how could I have not like, I would give that same advice to somebody, but I need someone to give that to
Right.
me to as a reminder,
Yeah.
and it only strengthens you.
Yes. Yeah, or even normalizing things, like, sometimes we think, "Oh, I'm the only one who's never sold something in a launch," and then you talk to, like, successful people, and it's like most of our launches, like, we're successful, like Michael Jordan quote, like, "He took the most shots out of everybody," and, so you just have to surround yourself with people who will not just be resourceful and supportive, but really like just normalize this journey. Just like if you're an athlete, you have a coach and you surround yourself with other athletes who are training. You don't go to, I don't know, a place where they're not training or like Dunkin' Donuts or wherever. Like it's not a very athletic. So like you just need to like think about it in a way where it's like, okay, I'm building this thing. There's other people building similar things. How can I surround myself with those people? And there's so many small businesses, so you've got so many options, different personalities, different ways to do things.
Let's talk a little bit about who to pick, right? Because I think one thing, the most important thing about who to pick is that you want to pick somebody who will commit. We'll want people also maybe that are 2 levels above us, and that's not what we're talking about. That's a coach, and we'll touch on this subject again
Mm,
later. Um, that's totally okay, but
mm,
it's really more people who are kind of
yeah.
in the same situation as you. Like, Cynthia and I both are solo business owners, but we have a small team, right?
Mm.
And we have typical ideal clients of female service providers. That's like a whole leg up because e-commerce and totally different story, right? So I think you don't
Right.
have to pick somebody exactly in your industry either, right?
Yeah, I like to actually I do pick people who I feel like are a little ahead, although I don't feel like it's a one-way thing. I pick people who I deeply admire what they're building and I want to be in their energy because I want to just emulate kind of certain things and I
Yeah.
want to learn from them, right? And then I also know that I have
Mhm.
something to offer, right? And I mean, I don't need to know all the details why you pick me, but like I like feel like it's mutual, right? So it feels like we're both kind of building each other up and we are both coming to this with something to give.
That's so, so important to say.
Yeah,
If the same as a commitment, right? Finding somebody who will commit to that, but
exactly.
also committing
Mhm.
yourself. And I think
Yeah.
Yeah, like, I was excited to, like, chat with you, and then, of course, this podcast came out of it, but because I
Mhm.
look up to you and admire you, and we have the same, like, marketing ideas.
Mhm.
I'm not saying this well. We both are serious about marketing our business, right?
Mhm.
I don't
Yeah.
think it would be
Mhm.
helpful to have a biz bestie that doesn't produce content like I do, right?
Mhm.
Because that's the core of my
Mhm.
business that I wanna always get better at is marketing, because I feel like that's the
Right.
lifeblood of a business.
Right.
Truly, that's where the money is coming from.
Right.
You
Right.
are someone that I have always identified as a hard worker, serious about marketing and educating and helping people, right? Not just
Mhm.
putting content out to get
Mhm.
business, which we all do, but like
Mhm.
truly having a passion on helping people in that
Mhm.
area. And that passion
Mhm.
and that
Yeah.
drive and the content is
Mhm.
really why I
Mhm.
chose.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, and so that could look different for different people because maybe there's someone out there who's like, "Well, I can't commit to this, but I can commit to that." And, like, I've gone through different versions of this in my business, and I also have different I guess I think it goes for all your
Yeah.
online contacts too. Like you're coming to it, you're with some value, and it doesn't mean you're necessarily talking to the person. I was actually just this week, I had a networking call with a gal that I talked to, and we talk yearly, but we were like obsessed with each other. And I like love that. And so it's like, it's not about quantity, it is really quality. And then over time, you just build that network of people who are there to support you in different ways.
That's really smart to say, and that it doesn't have to look like everyone else's biz besties, right? You have someone
Mhm.
you talk with
Yes.
once a year.
Yes.
I have a person that I love to
Mhm.
sort of business plan, like preview the
Mm,
next year
yes.
because my friend
Mhm.
is so
Mhm.
organized. Like, I borrow from that organization, right? And she borrows from
Yes.
me the energy and the excitement to do it, right?
To diversify your people. Like, I think one of the mistakes I made when I started is I would just get together with one person all the time, and it was great. Like, it's what I needed at the time, and it was fine. But now I'm like, I get to, like, meet with different people and, like, just whatever I'm needing, right? So with Jen, we have a certain connection, and then I have a coach. I also have like just different people. I have obviously paid help, but the connections, it's also like you get to kind of diversify, right, what you're needing from different people. And again, like I have this people who I talk with not very often, but it's still part of my network, and so that also allows you to just be very generous on your
Yeah,
different
and when
networks
I
and
first started
people.
my business, I had a biz bestie who is still in corporate, but she had a marketing
Mm,
mind that I admired, and we love
mm,
chatting, and so I would take her to
mm,
lunch, like, once a month or once every
mhm.
couple months
Aw.
and just talk
Mhm.
with her. Doesn't have to be a
Yeah.
formal situation, and you can offer to buy lunch,
Yes.
or you can one person
Mhm.
I talked with who
Yeah.
was really busy, I'm like, I would love to buy you lunch and have a conversation. Now we're on different coasts, right? A couple of years ago, and I literally sent her a Grubhub, DoorDash situation,
Mm.
turned that into like an ongoing kind of situation. You're
Right.
not limited to how this
Yes.
looks.
Yeah, I recently also just until this year now, I chose a mentor. I actually pitched someone that I really admire. And this person was like, "Look, I can't be your mentor, but I am open to you buying me lunch every once in a while and us
Done.
meeting." And I was like, "That's great." So it's not an official
Done.
mentor, it's unofficial, but I'm so inspired because this person built
Right.
what I want to build. And when I get together, they give me so much information and they just I think with all my connections, like you want to be with people who really give you that feeling of what's
Yes.
possible, right? We already put so many limitations on ourselves. You might be surrounded by people who you love, but they limit you in different ways, right? And so if you can complement that with people who are literally creating this unlimited like freedom, right? And that's why we start our businesses, right? We want that freedom. So I found that contact very, very helpful because it was just so not only am I getting a taste of the reality I'm building? But I'm like literally building it together.
So let's talk about how to find these people. So, one thing I will say is the way
Okay.
that I have found most people is either in a Facebook group or a coaching program or like a networking program. I'm trying to think of all the places that I've found people, mastermind.
Really.
So, like, if you're in a coaching program and there's one person, you see their face and like you see read the comments that they talk about whenever there's a live coaching and you like just jive with them, reach out to them. Don't be shy and say, I would love to have, like, I call them chats. I do 20-minute chats
Mhm.
on occasion. And through these chats is a
Mhm.
good networking opportunity. It's great for marketing. It's great for all of that stuff. But in
Mhm.
addition, I have
Yeah.
like a list of people that I admire and or would love to like have this type of situation going
Mhm.
on so that when I have more time, I can
Mhm.
go ahead and look at that list and see who I want to reach
Mhm.
out to. And for that purpose, I have
Yeah.
it's kind of like a Calendly, but it's in my CRM system,
Mhm.
SG Funnels. It's called Chat, and it says this is a 20-minute chat, so you can fit it
Mhm.
in your workday. It's not like a lot of energy. It's more just
Mhm.
talking about
Right.
what's your business? Who do
Mhm.
you like support in business? How can I help
Mhm.
support your business? And vice versa,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. I mean, I feel like for me, it's never been like, how can I find, how can I find my bestie? It's more been like, I have a business. I need to talk to other people because that's how business is done, right? Like unless I don't know, I don't understand any other way of like you need to just connect and get out there, whatever way you want to do that, right? So I've joined masterminds,
Yep.
I've joined networking groups, I've gone to conferences in person, virtual. Like I've just gone out and like, yes, I love being in my house, in my office, with or
Come on,
without
buddy.
pants at times, but
I get it.
like I love that about my business, but that does not mean I'm going to like isolate myself. And especially at the beginning, it can be hard because it's just intimidating. You don't always know what you're offering or maybe you're pivoting, but and today it's still like number one priority is how am I continuing to network with my existing network, stay top of mind, and then network with new people and make new friends and, just always kind of refresh things. But it's been natural because I'll go to mastermind and I'll connect with a particular woman and then we'll keep chatting. And then it's just you and me. Like it's been natural. It was never like, okay, how can we become besties? It was just like, I love hanging out with Jen. Jen likes hanging out with me. And then, like, I say to Jen, "Hey, do you wanna start a podcast?" And
I
she's like, "Yes."
absolutely
And I'm like,
do. So let's
"Okay."
find out how we can make that happen because we're both busy people.
Super busy. Yeah, I
Yeah,
was like,
and I
"How can
think
we do
and I
this?"
think you don't need to
Yeah.
rush it. That's the one piece of advice that I'm
Oh
gonna
my god,
say.
no.
If you find somebody that you really like them, but you've only met them once or like virtually or in person, like saying, "Hey, do you want to be a bestie?" Probably not the smartest thing to do because you really don't know them yet. So I always say focus
Right.
on that networking piece, sending out a link for a chat.
Yeah.
Go ahead and schedule at your convenience time on my calendar. I just would love to find out more about you and your business. It's as simple as that. I have also done that via inboxes, like on LinkedIn or
Mhm.
Instagram or wherever.
Mhm.
And as you're having more and more conversations, I did this with someone and they invited me to educate in their group. And
Mm.
then they contacted me about Pinterest to talk about Pinterest. And we've just had multiple conversations. And that's somebody that I would put on that list to keep following up with because they are somebody that I can see that sort of biz bestie kind of relationship with, which it's not this formal thing. It's more
Right.
networking. That's literally what it is.
Yeah. I wanna recommend a platform, but now I can't remember,
Or
but it's kind of like it was like networking. It was like networking for your business, but, like, almost like dating, like, you would set a time it's called,
oh,
like, lunchtime or
with lunch
lunchbox or
something.
something like that.
Yes.
Yes. So, it was just great because I would set, like, Tuesdays now I'm not doing it anymore, but what I did and I actually did meet, one of my biz besties, Kara, on there too. So, I would put, like, Tuesdays at like 10 a.m. my time. And so I would put like my type of business, I would put the type of networks. And so each Tuesday at 10 a.m., I would just, that spot would be filled by someone. Now, like when you're dating or when you're networking, you're not going to jive with everybody. That's okay. But it just gets you out there. And I also found it like a great way to like work on your pitch because you're meeting people who don't know you, right? So every time you have to explain what you do and you have to think about how you're going to explain it. And some people might know about what you do and some people might not, right? So I think platforms like that can be really helpful because I think it's just you have to get out there and talk to new people. It's like inevitable. So just whatever platform you want to do that with, do it. Just bake it into your like
Yeah,
marketing.
and I think it's somebody who should understand being in business for themselves, right? You can have
Yeah.
corporate friends, you can have all of those things, but I do think it's somebody that's in
True.
business for themselves, and one piece of advice that I would give is to, which wasn't an issue for us, but it could be an issue, is when one person
Mhm.
doesn't have kids and another person does have kids, there's a different thought process and availability of time, and so it might be helpful. I'm not saying to negate those people because obviously we're a living example of it going right. But it will be helpful, especially if what you're struggling with in your business is mom stuff. Like, how am I've
Um,
got kids playing on the floor. How do I appear professional if I have to go on a
mhm,
virtual call or what? Like, there's all
mhm.
kinds of things when you're a mom and you're working as an entrepreneur, so maybe that makes sense to find somebody that is in the same situation that you can talk to because
Right.
they'll
Yeah.
understand more of what you're going through. I mean, being
Yeah.
an entrepreneur with kids at home, not easy. Not easy
Yeah.
at all. The things I get done in a day,
Mhm,
maybe I would only have
mhm,
2 hours to get that stuff done. My business would look totally different,
mhm,
right? So I think it might be helpful
mhm.
to,
Yeah.
not just identify a person that you click or jive with, but also
Mhm,
maybe a
mhm.
person who has similar something maybe they're doing well and you're not
Lifestyle.
doing as well. Whether that's parenting and
Yeah.
working or marketing consistently or like whatever it
True.
is. Be thoughtful about what you
Yeah.
need as you're meeting these people is the only point
Mhm.
I will say.
Yeah, your lifestyle, right? Like, they'll get it, and it'll be something that you can complement each other on, and just yeah, obviously, they won't judge you or anything, or they don't get it, like certain things, because it's just there's so many different ways to do business, like, there's no right way, but you need to be able to be supported in
Yeah,
your
and
way.
I
Or the platform is
Lunch
called
Club.
Lunch Club, by the
Awesome.
way,
We'll
I
put the
found it.
link down below, but also
Yeah.
do it. Like, find your person, find your biz bestie, go out there, start networking,
Yeah.
start talking with people, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, like wherever you feel
Mhm,
comfortable, and
mhm,
be yourself. Don't try to be this polished
mhm,
person that you like want to exude for your business. Like,
mhm.
truly be yourself so that
Yeah.
you can make sure that it resonates with who they are as well.
Mhm. Yeah. Oh, it just makes such a big difference. Like, it changes everything when you can find someone you can laugh with, who you can cry with, who you can just yeah, be yourself, show them a little more behind the scenes maybe, and cheer each other on because it's a journey. It's such a journey. And if you can't look forward to, certain things because there's moments that are hard. I was just so looking forward to talking today with Jen and yeah, and you light me up and like I don't know, it just makes such a big difference. And I think that's why we start our businesses too, like to just hang out with cool people.
And as we're wrapping up, one last note I will say, and I've had a couple of these situations where the biz bestie relationship, the conversations that we're having were more venting than fixing problems. And don't be afraid to get out
Yes.
of that. Don't be afraid to say, "My schedule
Yes.
has changed. I am not able," because you don't have time for that. "My schedule has changed. I don't have time for these
Yeah.
anymore, and I just wanted to reach out and let you know." Like, you don't have to be fully
Yeah.
honest, right? Because you don't want to offend someone,
Mhm,
but your time is precious as an
mhm.
entrepreneur. Don't feel stuck if it's not vibing, if you're not vibing with the person.
Yeah. Yeah, or reduce it, like, I've told sometimes I've like, "Let's just try
Yeah.
once a month,"
Yes.
or, every 2 weeks, and then, like, I'll
Yes.
see how I feel, and then I've said sometimes, "Why don't we just do it in chat?" And then I would just do chat, and then I'll be like, "Well," like, if I'm not, because I also you just
And
needs
we change.
change, things
People
adapt,
change, yeah.
so yeah, we change, so it's important to make sure it's working on your end.
All right. If
Yeah,
you have any
slice.
tips on this
Mhm.
subject, please go to Instagram and or comment on YouTube. Let us know because we want to know if you have more ideas. We want everyone to hear those ideas because it's obviously not just what we do, but if you have something that you've done that worked really well, let us know. We
Yes.
want to know. And definitely leave a review
Yes.
for our podcast since it's brand new and we need those reviews. All right. Have a great day.
Yay, thank
Bye.
you.